All right, here we have the CURT powered multifunction taillight converter, number 59236. And this installation is really applicable to all SUVs. And I'm installing this on my 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV Canadian version. The Canadian version is important because it doesn't come with a tow adapter for the cabling harness like other models do in the US. And the installation we're doing here today is applicable for really all SUVs. It's the same approach no matter what vehicle you have. Just for a little more room, I've parked my rear wheels up on these 2x4s, and that gives me a little, extra 1.25 inches of height when I'm reaching under the lower bumper there. Removing the taillight on a third generation Mitsubishi Outlander is fairly straightforward. It's just a matter of removing these two screws, and then when you pull the tail light out, it just slides directly back. It doesn't come out at an angle. All right, so now I'm determining which wires do what in the tail light assembly. To figure out what's what, I've stripped a tiny little, almost indiscernible, I should say, amount of wire. And I'm using this wire tester. Basically, it comes with an alligator clip that I just have grounded below the vehicle there. And if I touch this to the right spot on this wire, it will illuminate. There we have it. It is all lit up, and it is touching the exposed wire in the blue and green in my case. And I did the green earlier. I'll touch it now, and it won't light up. Yeah, there we go. Not lit up because the tail lights aren't on. But if I had a helper up there and they turned on the tail lights or the headlights, which in turn turn on the tail lights, this would light up. So I've already identified that the blue-green is the brake light, the green is the tail light, and I'm sure this here is the signal light, but of course I'll test it before I move on. And there we have it. We have the signal light going, and it is lighting up the tester. So I have my 3 wires identified on this side. And the other side I'll need to take off to access the other signal light as well. But this is really a big chunk of the project already complete, just determining what you need to do and which wires you need to tap into. So the instructions here will help you figure out what you need to tap into based on what kind of wiring your vehicle has. 2-wire is when they have combined stop and turn signals with an independent tail signal. That's not me. I have 3-wire. I have independent stop, turn, and tail light signals. There's combined stop and tail with independent turn, and there's combined stop, turn, and tail. So knowing that that's what I need to do, basically, I look here. So my green wire will be my right turn. Your red wire will be your stop wire. Your yellow wire will be your left turn, and your brown will be your tail light. And when you pull this out of the box, it looks a little bit daunting, but it's not that hard to figure out. Like I said, we've already determined what goes where. And so we had our green, our red, our yellow, and our brown. Those are our turn signals and our tail lights and brake lights. And if the green one is longer because it actually has to drop down, come over, and come up and connect to your right turn signal. But what else do we have? We have a white, and the white is your ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a nice piece of bare metal in here. Maybe we'll shave it down a little bit, and we're going to drill a little tapping screw in there so that's grounded. And what needs to drop down, so we have to actually fish some stuff down there. The Flat-4, the right turn signal, and the power. And then we also need to be able to tuck this whole unit here down in here as well, so it's out of the way once it's all installed. I threw a light down there just to get a better look, and it's going to be very easy actually. All of that out of focus brown area behind the bolt there, that's just the underside of the bumper. So if once we get down there, we're laughing. We just got to get just down below this. We can reach up around it, and we have access to everything we need. All right, yeah, that took me 10 seconds. Goes in there, comes down out here, so it shouldn't be difficult to get all the wiring I need. All right, so I have everything I need fed to below the bumper there, which means I can kind of wrap up this area, and that means using these, I guess, wire taps to tap in the appropriate colored wiring to the appropriate vehicle wiring so that it all works the way it should. All right, so the way these work is very simple. If you look through the two openings on one end, one goes all the way through and one is stopped at the end here. The one that goes all the way through is the wire that you're tapping into in the vehicle, and the one that stops is going to be from the harness here. So as an example, if we were to do this with a yellow wire, the yellow wire would go on your screen on the right, and it would be stopped from exiting the other side, and then we would just push in the appropriate vehicle wire from the instructions into the clip next to it, so they're running parallel, and then you just use some pliers or vice grips or what have you to push this down, and then that basically taps both wires together, so the signal then jumps through this metal piece that's penetrating both wires, and it basically taps into the circuit. I'm tapping the red wire into the brake wire, so I've identified that as the blue-green on my vehicle. That is flowing through the appropriate channel in this, and the red is pushed all the way to the stopper at the end. So it is ready to splice. So I'm going to take these, in my case, vice grips, but you can use pliers, and I'm going to push down on this until it is all the way down. There we go. And then close the cover. And now the red is properly spliced to the brake light. And I've done the rest now. So I've got my left turn signal, my brake light, and my tail light all wired and ready to go. So before you determine where your ground wire is going to live and going to be affixed to the sheet metal of the vehicle, what you want to do is you want to kind of just line up the tail light back into its position, and make sure there's at least a little bit of clearance for so you can put it somewhere. And for me, right there is some clearance, so that's where I'm going to drill in the screw and hook up the ground. And I've already gone ahead and cribbed one side of this butt connector to the black power wire from the box here, and I fed the rest of the what will be the power wire, which will eventually will feed up to the front of the vehicle. I fed it all the way through, just have a little bit sticking out here, and I'm going to butt the other end through here so they're connected. So this wire to come down here, over and up, it should reach. I've kind of eyeballed it, but it's going to be tight. So because of that, I'm actually going to take the time to mount and wrap up this side before continuing on. I'm going to use the double-sided pad they've provided, and I'm going to clean off there, and then this is going to live right down in there. I'll have it, let me get it in there. Okay, it's going to be a tight squeeze. I'm going to have it living kind of down like as far, maybe there. That way there's still enough that I can pull the wires out and troubleshoot if there's an issue, but at the same time it's out of the way. There's no way you can mount it up in here. You wouldn't be able to put the tail light back on. Okay, so I've got the pad on down there. It's not, the adhesive backing hasn't been removed on this side yet. But I just want to point out that you don't want to go just right here. You want to go a little lower, because you need some room for this wiring to tuck back down and into the bumper behind the the trim here. If you have it all sticking out right up here and there's nowhere for it to tuck down like that, it's going to be pretty tricky to get your tail light back on. So make sure you have lots of clearance. So as you can see, I put it low enough that I can tuck all the wiring down and only have those that need to pop up. And I've pulled the extra slack of the green wire down. So what I've done now, this is a pro tip, or maybe not, we'll see how it works, is because it's so difficult to feed wire up, I just cut the green wire down here, and I'm going to feed it from the top down here, and then I'll reconnect it with a butt connector or something down there. And that way I can use gravity to help me feed this wire, and I'll just tap it onto the signal here. So underneath the vehicle, there's some important things to consider here. You want to avoid hot parts like the exhaust. easy way to do this is to look for other wires that exist under here and follow that same path. And so we're going to basically do that. So I'm going to tap into the signal on this side, and I have it fed down into the bumper as well. All right, so I got that all zip tied up there. That part's done. And now comes the real fun part, and that's doing the same thing, but with a longer piece of wire and navigating around the drivetrain, the shocks, all the moving parts or the hot parts underneath the car. So again, take special care as you do this to avoid anywhere where excessive rubbing would bear the wire, where some movement of the car could crush the wire, where it could run up against something very warm. Okay, this is hilarious because I have to laugh. So I've gone ahead and I've ran the power all the way to the front of the vehicle, about to come up to pop my hood. And of course, this is a plug-in hybrid. So where's the 12-volt battery? Well, it's in the boot. It's way back here under the cargo area. I didn't have to do any of that work. Oh boy. Well, it's a lot of work to undo, but lesson learned. Think before you act. Okay, I have my black power cord from the box there, under and then back up. Very short. I have a lot of excess, so that'll be good. I'll have some spare wire for another project sometime. But now that I'm up into my battery area, the next step is to add the fused connection for the, to connect the power. So really what you're going to do is we're just going to cut this wire halfway through, and we're going to connect one end to this eyelet that will obviously connect to your positive terminal, and then the other one we will connect to the black wire, and that will be pretty much the last bit of wiring we'll need to do. Okay, I've cut it and stripped both ends. Next I'll connect these and we'll hook it up to the battery. And we'll actually hook this up to the battery right now, and then I'll do the rest of it. It doesn't really matter because we don't have the fuse, so it's not going to make a connection to anything until the fuse is in there. All right, I've got it connected to the positive terminal. I've got the fuse in place. I've got it wired up to the power. So now's the moment of truth. So to test this, you could obviously hook it up to a trailer and see if the trailer lights work, but I have this little tester. Basically, you plug it in, it'll tell you if the trailer wiring is getting signals for tail lights and left and right. Okay, here we go. Headlights. Let's see if it does anything. Yes, it does. As you can see, the tail lights turn on, and so does the appropriate light, which is the left one. That is the tail light one, right? Yes, it is. All right, let's try the signals. Okay, here we go. We're going to do signal light, left, awesome, right, looks good, brakes. Oh, we are laughing. Here we go. We got it, baby. And of course, just to test, I've got the taillights back in spot here, and of course they're still functioning as well. So everything is working just as it should. That's the hazards that are blinking. So yeah, this is a job well done. And as I'm reassembling my trunk here, I'm noticing one little thing. What I should have done is when I cut the loop for this connection to your battery, I should have made the lead that goes to the terminal a little longer so I'd have a little more room to play with on this side for if I have to change the fuse while I'm towing for whatever reason. Otherwise, it could be tucked up under something like this and you might not realize it. So I can still get to it. I'm okay, but something to think about for next time. So one thing that I thought this would come with would be some sort of mount so that you could bolt it onto here and have it nicely strung. Right now I don't have anything like that, and I've actually wrapped it around. Probably not the best idea long term, but for now I'll do it. So it comes with a zip tie, so you can zip tie this to your hitch so it doesn't drag on the ground. Better than nothing, but I would like to have seen some sort of official mount you could mount this with. I'll buy one myself aftermarket and get that set up. But for now, I'll zip tie it and make sure it's not dragging at least.